back to the channel. This is a quick video I thought of doing of sort of wrapping up the weekend. I think there's a couple of talking points on the weekend's rugby, on the Springboks playing New Zealand and Australia playing Argentina, that I think we look at. And I think the first thing I want to talk about is, did the Boks do themselves in terms of selection? Look, the original selection was Bongi and Malcolm Marx on the bench, and that's how the Boks normally go. But when Bongi got injured, I think most people expected Malcolm Marx to start, and the Boks threw Joseph Dweba in the deep end. Now, Ian Foster said quite clearly they targeted the lineouts, and Boks were off that pace in that first half an hour. It's one of those things I really think maybe should have been explained a bit better. I think probably my take on it is that the Boks wanted to see how he'd do, and knowing that Bongi might be injured a little bit more longer, we've now found out it's 4 weeks, that they're going to need him to play in Australia, so they wanted to give him that sort of test as well and start him. And coaches often start players, coming back from injury or in their first squad, that if something goes wrong, if you got the guy on the bench and you get 2 other injuries, you might be forced to play him for 80 minutes, which as we saw with Faf, it happens in the game. So coaches a lot of the times take that conservative route and sort of rather start the guy than play him off the bench. So I think there was a lot of consternation about that, and I don't think it was really explained properly. And I think on Saturday night, one of the things, Jacques Nienaber was asked about it, and it was a topic of discussion several times in the press conferences last week. And this was what he said when he was asked why he picked Joseph Dweba ahead of Malcolm Marx.
No, there's always a reason. There's a rugby reason why we did that. But that's privileged. They've asked it already, and I'll say, listen, there's always a reason why we do that. There was a rugby reason for that. But unfortunately, it's privileged. The players all know. Every single player know why we went that route, and there's a very logic reason why we did that.
Now, I first want to say that this is a management team that's won a World Cup, it's won a Lions Tour, it's won the first test in Nelspruit against the All Blacks, and really should be trusted in their judgment, and they've obviously got a plan. What I didn't agree with, and I'll be quite honest about that, is when Jacques said, it's a rugby reason, it's privileged. Now, one of the reasons why I don't agree with saying it's privileged, I think you should, you have fans who pay a lot of money to watch the team. You've got fans across the countries who buy Bok jerseys, and they really sort of buy into the passion. And the team is always talking about, how they play for the people, etc. And I've got no doubt that this is true. But when you say that, and you get asked the question, and journalists want to explain it, to their readers and to their viewers, and you say there's a rugby reason and it's privileged, I don't think it comes across well, and I know Jacques was probably, I don't think it was any maliciousness in it. I don't think there's any other reason. It's probably tactical, and he doesn't really want to share it with everybody, and that's probably the reason. But it maybe came across the wrong way. I think probably part of my irritation about the whole situation is that on social media, and I know a lot of other people, there's always a bunch of people that keep on saying, it's a quota decision, they're forced to play certain players to have certain number of players in the squad, and all these sort of things, and that's we're long past that with the Springbok team. There's not one player in that Spok squad that doesn't deserve to be there. So I think that's what irritates me more is just the fact that by not answering the question, you sort of leave it open and people make up their own minds. And I think we probably see now that and my take is that it was probably because they knew Bongi was out for a period, and they wanted to give Joseph more game time, knowing that he'll have to play a role in Australia. But by not answering the question, you sort of leave it open to people's interpretation, and I think that does nobody any favours. And I feel you should trust this Bok team, this management. They've done well. There's no reason to doubt them in their sincerity, but I just think it could have been handled a little bit better. The second thing, and this is, I think some New Zealand radio stations have asked me as well, Ian Foster, should the All Blacks keep him or not? On Sunday, Ian Foster was asked sort of, does he, quite a telling question, does he have the support of New Zealand rugby? And his answer was the following.
About that.
Do you feel you have the support and the backing of your bosses?
I certainly feel I got the support and backing of the All Blacks. and I believe I've got the support, and I think New Zealand rugby's still, I guess there's still processes that they want to go through to categorically say that. But what I do know is that to coach this team, you have to have categoric support.
Ian, is it hard to do your job with all this stuff hovering over you? You talked about the public kind of pile on and everything, how tough that was, the media pile on. Is it tough to actually do your job while all this stuff is over you?
No, I don't think it is, to be honest. I think that you get used to it, and that's sad, isn't it? And I get used to the personal side, and that's the nature of the job, and it's largely they're the distractions that I ask the players to put to one side. And when we go out to a test match and there's a big crowd, or referee decisions don't go their way, or something goes wrong, we're demanding of our players to put those things to one side and just get back to work. And in all honesty, I think the playing group's probably been demanding that of me, is stop sulking, get on with it and do your job. So it's sometimes the answer's in the simplicity of that.
Now, by saying he has the support of the All Blacks, he's saying he hasn't lost the change room. But and there was a number of players. Aaron Smith came out, Sam Whitelock, a bunch of them came out and said was their coach and they want him to stay. But New Zealand Rugby had a Sunday morning press conference where they said absolutely nothing. They sort of leaving Ian Foster in limbo, and they'll make a decision this week. Now, this may be old by the time this video comes out, and they made a decision already. But my point would be is it's no good leaving a guy in no man's land. You're a year out from the World Cup. Take a decision. If he's not the guy you're going to back, then get another coach and get him on his way. It's no good leaving anybody in that situation, no matter who they are. And if he is your guy that you're going to keep, then back him to the hilt and give him everything he needs to succeed. But either way, I think before the weekend's game, I think all of us could have understood if they made a decision already and they told him. We actually heard rumours that he was telling people he thought he was fired already. If that's the case, then make the call. South Africa did it before the World Cup, and look how it turned out. I have no doubt the All Blacks can do it and have things come right for them. I have no doubt they can keep him and probably have things come right for them. The reality is it's not right to do that, and the further they tinker and the further they sort of leave it in limbo, it does nobody any good. So take a decision, New Zealand. Then the third and final thing I wanted to talk about was reffing. I've had a lot of comments on my social media. A lot of people have come to me and asked me what I thought of the reffing decisions. I've been quite clear. I thought Luke Pearce was rather pedantic. I didn't agree with everything that he said. I thought he had a decent game. It was a high-pressure game, and there was players shouting at him the whole time. I think he's a very good ref. So I didn't think it was a bad game by him, but there were maybe one or two decisions I didn't quite agree with. The decision on Jasper Visser taking out Aaron Smith, I thought maybe that's the 50-50 that went away against the box. And then a lot of people talk about the obstruction. I've gone and looked at it. I've had a long look at it as well. Guys, that's a 50-50. I mean, the ref makes that call, the TMO makes that call. I don't think it would have mattered because we were sitting in line of sight with the final pass, and I'll be very honest. I thought the pass was forward. So I think if we got past that obstruction, it would probably have been called back for forward anyway. So these things happen. I think the one thing that did maybe irk me was right in the beginning. I thought the rip when Lukanya went through and scored, I thought that wasn't a knock. That was just my decision, my point of view. I thought that he got wrong, but these things did happen, and the Boks had enough chances. They got themselves ahead. They let themselves down in their defence, and I think if you're looking for reasons why they lost, the 4 lineouts they lost, the fact that the All Blacks beat them at the breakdown, and their defence. The All Blacks found holes in their defence and their passes stuck. So well done, All Blacks. Deserved winners in my book. I think a bigger issue is probably that we have to start respecting the officials more. We have to, as South Africans, we love to whinge. I'm just as guilty of it. I do it quite a bit, and I've done it on social media. But we've got to get better than that. We've got to get to a point where we take the good with the bad and realize, the referees are always going to be there. They're always going to make mistakes. Sometimes it's going to cost your team. Sometimes it's going to benefit your team. So I think as South Africans, we've had a couple of rough decisions over the years, and our first jumping point is always to go to the ref. I think the Boks this weekend were their own worst enemies. They weren't as good as they were in Nelspruit. They probably weren't to be honest, they weren't the better team on the field on the day, and I think that's the bottom line. So that's my points on the ref. Let's try and be better towards refs. Something I say to myself the whole time as well. Okay guys, that's my weekend wrap. I've been sort of egged on to do this by a good friend of mine, so I hope you like it. Tell me in the comments below if you enjoy it. I'm going to try and do this every international week at least, and try and talk about that and see what the talking points are. And if there's something you want me to talk about, let me know in the comments, and I'll do my best. But thanks for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed to the channel. There's always rugby videos coming out. There's always press conferences, or I'll be sharing some thoughts every now and again. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.